Young Justice. This is issue 3.
Oh,
This is Brian Michael Bendis writing with Patrick Gleason and Victor Bogdanovich on the art. Bogdanovich is doing the flash. This is going to be a trend, I feel, because each issue has like a
yep.
flashback of a specific character. So we get flashbacks to Superboy and kind of how he ended up in Gem World. Doesn't explain like how he exists in continuity yet, but we at least explains why he's in
No,
Gem World.
yeah, and like this is one of those be careful what you wish for because I kind of saw a spoiler, but I thought someone was playing around
Mm.
with what they had said. I thought it was just a throwaway, and then I read it and went, "Oh no, that was 100% the truth." Because someone's like, "Well, where's Connor been?" And someone else responded, "Oh, he's a farmer in Gem World, has a wife and kid." And I was like, huh, "Silly!" Like, oh, that's funny. And then as I'm reading it, and we get to that point, he is a farmer and has a wife and kid with a cute little spit curl.
Yep,
You know,
that's funny.
um,
Oh.
still doesn't feel like my Connor though. Like I feel like those days are long past,
Yeah, it does feel
which is a
different.
bummer because Bart feels like Bart. Like this is the Bart that I last read. When he was Kid Flash and before the New 52 took over. Connor's story goes, he's doing the Superboy thing, and he ends up helping the government like apprehend this monster, and then he ends up going to school, and he can't get it out of his head like what Star Labs was doing with this monster. And his teacher's giving a lecture on why there's rules and what makes up rules. And, it's all about trying to control the norm. And, if, everybody's different and has a different set of norms, that makes it really hard for rules to exist. So everyone has to share norms. And he kind of just, from what I gather, he's just kind of like, well, I'm not about this anymore. Like I'm gonna kind of do what I want because been my that's been my default setting. Because I'm half Kryptonian, I'm half human. There's really no one else like me. So who do I judge my norms against?
Yeah.
And he goes back to the government facility and kind of just punches the walls down and upsets them. And they're like, "Well, you can't be here. We're gonna have to deal with you." And he's like, "Well, no. Like, what were you guys doing with that monster? I want to know." He ends up finding out what they were doing, and it looks like they have a portal to Gem World.
Yeah. I think
Um,
that's how he ends up in Gem World. He gets
and
sucked in.
and he falls through, and the page where he falls through looks gorgeous. It looks like a painting, like
He does. It's
has all
very.
these colors going. It's him small against a black background. Um, my favorite part of this issue though was Bart being like, "Oh, because him and Bart have their reunion dampered by some of these forces from it's Opal, right?
Yeah, so
Like
it's
from
like
Lord Opal.
his guard, his
Yeah,
force, police force, or whatever.
and Bart's like, "Oh, you guys just messed up. You don't even know who this is.
Yeah.
Like, this is Superboy." And they're like, "Who?" Like, it's a
Yeah.
very Peter Quill moment.
Yeah, so
Uh,
Superboy is like trying to like play it as if he's just like he's a native
a
there,
humble
right?
farmer.
He's just a humble farmer. But Bart points out that he's got a Superman shirt on, and they start
Yep,
questioning it. So eventually, he just kind of has to like you
yep.
know get fighting
But
anyway.
he surrenders.
Yeah.
Uh, and Bart's like, "Oh no, this is bad."
Yeah. In fact,
And
it doesn't even start fighting because it ends when his
uh,
wife and son pop out.
yep,
That's the last we see of
and that
them.
and we
Yeah.
find out that's why he surrendered. And I love Bart going first the beard, now this. Like I feel like I don't even know you anymore.
Yeah. But that means you relate to Bart right now, so it kind of
I do,
works. Yeah.
I do.
I will say I thought there was some structural things that were weird about this one. In that there's a nice section at the end where we meet all the rest of the team are now in prison, right? They're all in like dungeons,
Yep,
and
dark holes.
they're all next to each other. And we just see like Robin's like hand sticking out, and we see the light from Amethyst and so on. And it's just like, hey, is that you next door, Cassie? And it's like, yeah, that's me. It's kind of just that kind of thing. I really like these few pages, but it was kind of weird how it was just like this dump at the end of all the other
Yeah.
characters. Because I feel like
I do feel like Bendis played it for laughs
yeah,
because you get a flashback how they ended up there is that Cassie lost her, she flew into a rage and tried to fight these forces and they
yeah.
ended up getting taken. And she's like, "This one's on me." And Tim's like, "Well, no one's blaming you." And Amethyst like, "No, I'm totally blaming you because I'm in this because it's your
Yeah,
fault."
well, this is the exact bubble here. Reality
Yeah.
itself is falling apart. I'm the only one who knows or can do anything about it, and I'm stuck down here. I totally blame her.
Yeah. So it's got that Bendis banter, and I don't want to sandbag it because it's not the Connor that I want. You know, like I have this whole thing. I'm getting Connor back, and I trust Bendis, but I don't want to penalize something for a story change that I'm sure is going to pay off.
Yeah, well, I mean, the weird thing is that it still doesn't explain how he existed in continuity yet. We still don't have that answer. This just says that he was there before and gets sucked into Gemworld. Now, I suppose the answer might be that he actually came from another Earth and went into this Gemworld. What, this wasn't on our Earth, which that may be the answer.
Right.
I don't know. I think like his murkiness in the backstory, well, it's enjoyable in and of itself, probably does make this the weakest of the 3 issues because it adds this kind of question mark to him still. Whereas I didn't really have those complaints last issue. Like Cassie's flashbacks were great last issue.
Yeah.
I was into them. So
yeah, and Bogdanovich, I feel like he's born to draw super characters because his issues on Superman were great. I mean, New Superman, fantastic. This stuff, like Connor does look like Connor. He's the t-shirt and jeans version early on. Yeah. And then he ends up in his traditional. He decides he's gonna put the leather jacket back on.
And I'll give it the credit where they've kind of made it work where there's like this like fill in doing like a chunk of each issue because it's like. No, like each issue is going to have a flashback for a character, and those flashbacks are going to be in like a different artist each issue. But Gleason's doing maybe half to 2/3 of each issue, so he's keeping up. His art looks great. His art looks fantastic.
Yeah. And I look forward to that. And I feel like it's a good magic trick that I care so much for all these characters that I'm looking forward to the next one. Even though this one disappointed me just a tad, like I can't wait to see like what Tim's been up to or what Bart was up to, and who's gonna handle the art there. Because like last time we had Lupacino, this time we have Bogdanovich. So who's coming up to the plate next?
Joe, I really liked though, I think Bart being in shock at how different Connor is and worked a little bit for the audience who's like, wait, this isn't our Connor. Like it kind of it works. There's someone having that reaction. Something is different here.
And what Bendis has been saying is like this isn't even the lineup. So it makes me wonder if like, guys, we're getting Connor and Young Justice back, but he's like, oh no, he's in Insane Gem World. Like, here he is. This is where he's at, guys. And that's a little bit of a bummer, but I guess I'll have to take solace on it. Looks like Bart's going to be around because he's, he's Bart. There's no question there. So, but that cover too. This is another one that's spoiled by the cover and the variant covers because they're both. I think that's the Shaner version with all the colors.
What are you rating the book, Matt?
I'm gonna give it a 7.5. Like again, nothing against the art. But
I actually am going to agree. I think it stops. It just doesn't quite make great because there's still some weird murkiness to Connor's like existence.
Yeah, and so I'm glad that we came to the same one because I felt like it was just my bias of wanting my Connor back, and I think that at least if anything, this gave me the hey man, it's time to move on. There's other characters out there like Wally West.
Yes, let's not ruin Wally West. Let's make sure Wally West is healthy and is going to continue.
Or Booster Gold. Or Poison Ivy. This sucks.